Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, I think as you identified, we're here for an EFSB advisory opinion process. The statute at Rhode Island General Laws 42-98-9 sets forth the overview of what we should be looking at. I'd ask you to do an investigation and to look at what's laid out in the preliminary order, which are the three items which I think you just identified. The first question being whether the project is needed to meet is it needed to meet the reliability and the needs of our region for electric generation. Two, whether the project is cost justified to the consumer, consistent with the object of ensuring cost effectiveness and ratepayer savings. And third, whether there are sufficient cost-effective efficiency and conservation opportunities that will provide alternatives to the project. You know, this is not the first time that the Commission's been asked to take a review of an electric generation project. We've done this many times. What's interesting is you've done this both, you know, really before the Electric Restructuring Act of 1996 and after. And there was a watershed change in the electric generation market in the regulatory market in 1996. If you look at your opinions in the Hope Energy proceeding, in the Tiverton Power proceeding, in the INDEC proceeding, I think you'll get a sense of you'll get some guidance on what standard you should be looking at as you review the testimony and the exhibits. A couple of key points I think that are worth emphasizing. First, when Rhode Island restructured its electric markets after in 1996, as I said, that was a watershed moment, because before that, when you evaluated the need for a project, your focus was on the fact that ratepayers were going to be on the hook for paying for the cost of that project, success or fail. So whatever happened, it was ratepayers that were going to foot the bill. That all changed in 1996. Rhode Island became one of the first states in the country to split its electric generation market into a competitive market and away from a monopoly, highly regulated activity. That's important because the risks then shifted to the market, to private investors, to read the signals, to read the market signals, and to determine whether they wanted to invest their funds into constructing electric generation projects. So as a result, you the Commission determined many years ago that your job in reviewing the need for electric generation project has been very much liberalized. Your job now is to determine whether the market has properly evaluated whether there's a demand for the resource. Now, with regard to on need, so is there a market for electric generation? And who controls that market? Who manages that market? Well, we know that there's an ISO New England. Rhode Island is part of a New England region group of states that are managed in the electric generation market by the ISO New England, an organization that's staffed and fully capable under FERC's guidance of evaluating the market and setting the price signals to determine and to encourage new generation from electric generation projects. So it's your job to look to see if the ISO New England market system, which you'll hear a lot about in this proceeding, you'll see it in our testimony, the forward capacity market system, did that process function the way it's supposed to function, to set the price signals and at a point to encourage generation and resources to come into the market. Now, we do know now, we did not know at the time we started this proceeding with the FSB, what the results of that FCA 10 would be. We now know in the FCA 10 that Invenergy was awarded 485 megawatts of capacity in the FCA 10 auction. We know that as far as the ISO New England goes, and as some of the testimony you'll hear us repeat, that if a project clears the FCA market, it is by definition been determined to be a needed resource to maximize the social surplus necessary to meet the overall system-wide and local reliability needs of the region and including Rhode Island. That's a feature in the ISO's press releases, it's in the documents, and it's in the testimony. Now, there are other reasons why a project like this is needed and why you should evaluate it as well. A project like this is needed because it will replace what are projected to be large numbers of megawatts of retirements of existing generation. We know Brayton Point, a large project, 1,000 megawatts, is scheduled to be retired. Pilgrim Nuclear has been announced. Plymouth, the Plymouth project in Massachusetts, and many others. So the reason you should look at the retirements is because we need the megawatts to replace what's going down, and we need them for another reason, and that's to support the development and the growth of renewable energy projects in the region. Everybody wants to see more renewable energy projects in the region, and nobody more than Invenergy, because Invenergy is one of the leaders in the country in the development of renewable energy projects. But as the ISO New England has indicated, it is a kind of a paradox. The more renewable energy you get, and you need, and you develop, you need quick start, efficient, capable backstop generation to support the development of more renewables. That's what this project would do. And last on the question of need is this idea that a new, efficient, quick start natural gas project will displace older, more polluting coal and oil producing facilities in our region. And unfortunately, or fortunately for some, but unfortunately for others, we still have a lot of oil and coal. We have oil and coal that are generating electricity in our region. And it's a fact that when a quick start, efficient natural gas unit like Invenergy's project comes online, the ISO New England will go to that project first to displace, to use the electricity from that when needed, and to displace the oil and gas, oil and coal. So that's another thing that you should be looking at. And you'll see that in your previous advisory opinions, you indicated that to the extent a project will displace older and less efficient electric generation, that's another way you can determine if a project is needed. We've also heard about the jobs and the economy. We all know about Rhode Island's economy and its need for jobs. This project will bring hundreds of high-paying, well-needed jobs to our economy. And you'll hear testimony about that as well. Now, similarly, for cost effectiveness and ratepayer benefits, again, because ratepayers are not on the hook to pay for this project, it's your job to look at whether the market at the ISO New England level, in the full capacity market, evaluated the market and set the prices for the auction accordingly, and whether companies responded to meet the most efficient signals that were set. And we can see that the price, we know now that the price that was set, the winning price that was set in the full capacity market auction has gone down. Those benefits will flow, those ratepayer benefits therefore will be flowing to ratepayers. And it gets very technical, but you'll see the details of that in the testimonies of our witnesses, as well as some of these, as well as the division's witness. And I understand that there'll be some disputes over the numbers, but the fact remains that we're talking about millions of dollars in ratepayer savings. Our witnesses project about $210 million in ratepayer savings over a three-year period. Of course, it's easy to, it's difficult to know for certain, but the fact remains that all the witnesses seem to project, significant savings, millions of dollars potentially in ratepayer savings. Now, as far as options, conservation options go, you'll hear testimony that again, because of the number of megawatts required to meet the need for the region, to make sure that the lights stay on, it's important that that there be enough resources. And unfortunately, renewable is growing, but it's not growing fast enough, and we don't have sufficient as much capacity as we need in renewables to meet the need. So we've evaluated that. You'll see that in the testimony of our witnesses that this has been evaluated, and that it's important that we have enough natural gas resources to make up that difference in the meantime. So with that, you're going to be hearing from our witnesses, John Nyland of Energy and Ryan Hardy. We'll get into more of the details with this. But at the end of the day, I think you'll see that the evidence is overwhelming, that there's a need for this project, that the ratepayer savings are real, and that there are not sufficient alternatives right now in terms of conservation and efficiency to meet the required electric load as ISO New England has determined is to be necessary to ensure reliability of our electric